perfect for this annual tradition. Roger, I looked back and you did this for the first time in 2009 when we opened. So that makes this the 14th year that you've been doing this for us. How about that? It's a special tradition. Thank you so much.
My tradition for it actually, my interest in this goes way back to about 1940, when we used to have blackouts and sit in our basement and put the radio on at the last minute. And we heard Lionel Barrymore do this. Actually, his brother did it, maybe that year. One year he was sick and couldn't do it, and his brother made believe he was Lionel and did it. But I used to listen to it then, and it was terribly scary. You know, there were parts of it where people were screaming. But that became a tradition every year then, to listen to it, and then to see it on TV was even more special, as Lionel Barrymore being the great actor he was. So I just became interested in it, and it almost became a hobby of being interested. And so whatever chance I got, I would go to performances of it, or watch it on TV and radio, listen to it on radio. And now I continue to do it, but The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Marley was dead to begin with. What a start for a story. Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatever about that. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. And I don't mean to say that I know what there is particularly dead about a doornail, but the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and therefore you will allow me to repeat that Marley was as dead as a doornail. I might have been inclined to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade, but you therefore permit me to repeat, Marley was as dead as a doornail. Now, this has to be known by everybody before the story begins, because nothing wonderful can come of it. Scrooge knew he was dead, of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood years afterward over the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge, and sometimes Marley. It was all the same to him, he answered to both. When he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, clutching, scraping, covetous old sinner. Scrooge saw, busy in his counting house there, it was cold and bleak, whether the door of Scrooge's counting house might keep his eye on his partner, Bob Cratchit. Bob Cratchit, with his family, worked in a little cell beyond what was copying letters, and Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clock's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal, but he couldn't replenish it. The clerk tried to warm himself by a candle, but he didn't have enough imagination for that to work. "Merry Christmas, Uncle, God save you," a voice called out. "Christmas, a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure. Merry Christmas. What right of you to be merry? You're poor enough. Come then. What right of you to be rich, dismal? You're rich enough. Ah, humbug. Don't be cross, Uncle. What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer. If I could work my will, anyone who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. Uncle, nephew, you keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine." "Keep it, but you don't keep it." "Well, let me leave it alone then." "Much good may it do you. Much good it has ever done you." "Well, I have always thought of Christmas time when it has come round as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely. And therefore, Uncle, therefore, although it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good and shall do me good, and I say God bless it." "Good for you, lad." The clerk involuntarily applauded. "Let me hear another sound from you, Cratchit, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation." "You're quite a powerful speaker, sir. No wonder you don't go into Parliament." "Oh, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow. I would see you in," and he said, "Hades. First." "Why? Why did you get married?" "Because I fell in love." "Because you fell in love? Ah, good afternoon." "Nay, Uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?" "Good afternoon. I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?" "Good afternoon." "So a Merry Christmas, Uncle." "Good afternoon." "And a Happy New Year." "Good afternoon." Under the impression, sir, that they scarcely furnish cheer of mind or body to the multitude, a few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy some poor. This is out of place, Anyway, it was, what shall I put you down for? Nothing. You wish to be anonymous. I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish, gentlemen, that is my answer. I don't make myself marry at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people marry. I help to support the establishments that I have mentioned, and they cost me quite enough. Those who are badly off must go there. Many don't go there, and many would rather die. Well, if they would rather die, they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population. Besides, I don't know that, but you might know it. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Seeing that it was useless for them to pursue the matter, the gentleman withdrew. Well, sir, it's what? It's shedding that time, sir. I suppose you want all day tomorrow? The whole day off? Well, it's quite convenient, sir. It's not convenient. It's not fair. If I was to stop half a crown, think that you'd think yourself ill-used. And yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work. Oh, it's only once a year, sir. Nah, It's a poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. I suppose you must. But be here all the earlier the next morning. Oh, I will, sir. I will indeed. Good afternoon, Mr. Scrooge. Scrooge went home to bed. He lived in chambers that had once belonged to his deceased partner, Jacob Marley. They were in a lowering pile building in a upper yard where it had so little business to be that one could scarcely help imagining that it must have run there when it was a young house playing at hide and seek with the other houses and had forgotten the way out again. It was old enough now where nobody lived in it but Scrooge. A clanking noise, deep down below, as if some person were dragging a heavy chain over the casks in the wine merchant's cellar. The cellar door flew open with a booming sound, and then he heard the sound much louder on the floors below, and then coming up the stairs, and then coming straight towards his door. Someone! I won't believe it! His color changed when it came on through the heavy door and passed into the room. Now, what do you want with me? Much. Who are you? Ask me who I was. Who were you then? In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley. Don't you believe me? I don't. When evidence would you seek? How would my reality beyond that of your own senses, Ebenezer? Because a little thing can make them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You may be an underdigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more gravy than gravy about you, whatever you are. Humbug, I tell you, humbug! All this spirit raised his frightful cry and shook the chain with such a dismal and appalling noise that Scrooge held tightly to his chair. Mercy, dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me, man of the worldly mind? Do you believe in me or not? I do, I must. But why do people walk the earth? Why do spirits walk the earth? And why do they come to me? It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. And, woe is me, and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth and turned to happiness. You are fettered. Tell me why. I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard and girded it on my own free will. And now, my own free will, I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the heavy coil you bear yourself? It was full, as heavy, and as long as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain, Ebenezer. Jacob, oh, Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob. I have none to give, Ebenezer. It comes from other realms. Ebenezer Scrooge, in my life, my spirit never roved beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing home. But you were always a good man in business, Jacob. The The time has nearly come for me to go. The hour of self and nothing else. Scrooge went to bed. The curtains of his bed were drawn back by a hand. He was a strange figure, like a child, and yet not so like a child as like an old man. Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold me? I am. Who and what are you? I am the ghost of Christmas past. Long past? No, your past. What business brought you here? Your welfare? Your reclamation? Rise and walk with me out of the window. I am a mortal, I'm liable to fall. Bear but a touch of my hand. There, and you shall be upheld in more than this. Good heaven! I was bred in this place. I was a boy here. Oh, poor boy. I wish. Oh, but it's too late now. What's the matter? Nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night. I should like to have given him something, that's all. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door and asked Scrooge if he knew it. No, and why I was apprenticed here. And they went in, and at the sight of an old gentleman in a Welsh wig, Scrooge cried out in great excitement, Why, it's old Fezziwig! Bless his heart, it's Fezziwig alive again. You're home, you boys. No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson. Clear away, me lads. Let's have plenty of room. Here you go, Dick. Cheer up, Ebenezer. In came a fiddler with a music book. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast, substantial smile. In came all the young men and women employed in the business, one after another. And away they all went, all at once, 20 couple, at once, hands half around, back again the other way, down the middle and up again, and around in various stages of affectionate grouping. And there were more dances, and more dances. And there was a great cake, and there was a great cold roast, and there were mince pies and plenty of beer. A small matter to make these silly folks so fond. Small? What's the matter? Oh, nothing. Something, I think. Well, I should like to be able to say a word to my own Clark, Bob Cratchit now, that's all. He was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by irresistible drowsiness, and further, of being in his own bedroom, he sank into a heavy sleep. Awakening in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore, and sitting up in bed to get his thoughts together, all this time he lay upon his bed, the very core and center of a blaze of ruddy light. He began to think that the source and secret of this ghostly light might be coming from the adjoining room. So he got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the door. Come in and know me better, man. This was his own room, there's no doubt about that, but it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with living green that it looked a perfect grove. And such a mighty blaze went roaring up the chimney. Heaped upon the floor, form a kind of throne, were cheeses and games and all kinds of bowls of punch that made the chamber dim with its delicious steam. And in easy state, seated upon his throne, there was a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a crutch, glowing torch. Upon his couch there was a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a little glowing crutch, a torch, and shaped not unlike Plenty's horn. And he held it up to shed light on all in the house. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. And was clothed in one striped green robe, bordered with white flags. You've never seen the like of me before? Never. Spirit, conduct me where you will. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it. Touch my robe, gladly. Perhaps it was the pleasure that the good spirit had in showing off this power of his, or else it was his own generous, hearty nature and his sympathy with all poor men everywhere that made him led straight to Scrooge's clocks. So there he went and took Scrooge with him, holding on to his robe. And on the threshold, the spirit smiled and stopped and blessed Bob Cratchit's dwelling with sprinklings of his torch. There's Father coming now, and in came little Bob, the father, with at least 3 feet of comforter, exclusive of the fringe hanging down before him, and his threadbare clothes darned up and brushed up to look seasonable, and Tiny Tim on his shoulder, the last for Tiny Tim. He bore a little crutch and had his limbs supported by an iron frame. And how did little Tim behave? Asked Mrs. Cratchit. As good as gold and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much and thinks the strangest thoughts you ever heard. He told me coming home that he hoped that people saw him in church and that he was a cripple and that it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. Such a bustle ensued that we might have thought a goose the rarest of all birds. And Mrs. Cratchit made the gravy hissing hot, and Master Pleader mashed the potatoes with incredible vigor, and Miss Belinda sweetened up the applesauce, and Martha dusted the hot plates. There never was such a, excuse me while I stop and wipe my nose. It's sweating profusely. Bob said he didn't think there ever was such a goose cooked. Its tenderness, its flavor, its size, and cheapness were the things of universal admiration. It was a sufficient dinner for the whole family. And all the Cratchit family drew around the hearth in what Bob called the family circle. 2 tumblers and a custard cup without a handle. Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us, which they all re-echoed. Tiny Tim last of all. God bless us, everyone. He sat very close to his father's side, on the stool. And Bob held his withered little hand in his, as if he loved the child and wished to keep him by his side, and dreaded that he might be taken from him. Oh, Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live. I see a vacant seat in a poor chimney corner, the crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die. No, Spirit, kind Spirit, say he will be spared. Well, what if he be like to die? He had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Oh, my own words. The bell struck 12. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley. And lifting up his eyes, he beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded and coming like most across the ground. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. You are about to show me the shadows of the things that have not happened but will happen in the future before us. Is that not so, Spirit? Ghost of the future. I fear you more than any specter I have seen, but I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear you company. And do with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? Lead on, lead on. The phantom glided into a street. His finger pointed to two businessmen. Now, I don't know very much about it. All I know is that old Scratch is dead. Oh, when did he die? Last night, I believe. Why, what was wrong with him? I thought he'd never die. God knows. What's he done with his money? I haven't heard. Left it to his company, perhaps, and he hasn't left it to me. That's all I know. Well, it's likely to be a very cheap funeral, because upon my soul, I don't know of anybody who'd go to it. I don't mind going. If the lunch is provided. Oh, Spirit. I see. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now. Merciful heavens, what is this? He recoiled in terror, for the scene had changed, and now he almost touched a bed. Excuse me while I sit down. Because I'm an old man too. Beneath the ragged sheet there lay something covered up, which, though it was dumb, announced itself in awful language. Pale light rising in the outer air fell straight upon the bed, and on it plundered, bereft, unwatched, unwept, uncared for, was the body of this man. Spirit, this is a fearful place. Let us go. Let me see some tenderness connected with the dead. The ghost conducted through several streets familiar to his feet, and then entered poor Bob Cratchit's house. And I know, said Bob, I know, my dears, that when he recollected how patient and how mild he was, although he was a little child, we shall not quarrel easily among ourselves and forget poor Tiny Tim doing it. Spectre, something tells me our parting is so nearly gone. Tell me what man that was you saw lying dead. They reached the iron gate, the churchyard, and here then the wretched man whose name ghost pointed downward and the grave by which it stood. Excuse me, I'm going to have to go to a chair. Why show me these if I am past all hope? Good Spirit, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on this stone. Holding up his hands in a last prayer to have his fate reversed. He sat down beside the bedpost and discovered it was a bedpost. Yes, it was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. I will live in the land past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven in the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, oh Jacob, on my knees. I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as a schoolboy. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. And running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. Hello, what is today? What is today, my fine fellow? Today? Why, it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Hello, my friend. Hello. Do you know the poulterers in the next street by the corner? Oh, I should hope I did. What a remarkable boy. What an intelligent boy. Do you know if they have still the prize turkey that was hanging in the window? Not the little prize turkey, but the big one? What, the one as big as me? What a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck. It's hanging there now. Is it? I'll go and buy it. Oh, good. No, I'm in earnest. Go and buy it and tell him to bring it here that I may give him the direction of where to take it. Come back with him and I'll give you a shilling. And come back with him in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown. The boy was off like a flash. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He shan't know who sends it. He dressed himself and at last got out into the streets. He had not gone very far when he beheld a portly gentleman who had walked into the counting house the day before and said, Scrooge and Marley's ugly. My dear sir, how do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Scrooge. That is my name, and I feel I may not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask you your pardon, and will you have the goodness? Yes, Scrooge whispered in his ear. Lord bless me, my dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious? If you please, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor? My dear sir, I don't know what to say to such munificence. Don't say anything at all. Come and see me. Will you come and see me? I will. Thank you. I'm much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times over. Bless you. And he went to church. And he walked about the streets. And he patted little children on the head and found that everything could yield him pleasure. And in the afternoon he turned his steps toward his nephew's house. Is your master at home, my dear? Yes, sir. Where is he, my love? He's in the dining room, along with mistress. I'll show you upstairs, please. Thank you. Fred, why bless my soul, who's that? It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I've come to dinner. Will you let me in? Let him in. Why, it's a mercy he didn't shake his hand off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be better. Nothing could be more wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. But he was early at the office the next morning. He was office there, early there. If he only could be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late. And that's what he did. Indeed, he said his heart upon, and he did, yes. He was full 18 and a half minutes behind his time. Hello. What do you mean by coming here at this time of day? Oh, I am sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind my time. You are? Yes, I think you are. Step this way, if you please. No, it's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday. Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I'm about to raise your salary. Mr. Scrooge, a Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I've given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob. Make up the fires and buy another cold scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend and as good a master and as good a man as the good old city ever knew. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well if any man possessed the knowledge. And may that truly be said of us, and each of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. But it's been fun doing it all these years. Thank you for